Yeah. What's up? And welcome to yet another episode of I'm Will Bryant. As always, I'm your host. I'm Will Bryant. You know what I realized that I did not just last week, but in the last 2 weeks, back-to-back episodes? It's a travesty. It's quite frankly unforgivable on my end, even though I would ask and beg for your forgiveness. 2 weeks in a row, I made not just a mistake, but grave mistakes. Like, I'm ashamed of it. Because for 2 weeks in a row, on this podcast, I'm Will Bryant. I'm your host, I'm Will Bryant. 2 weeks in a row during my intro, I, Will Bryant, host of I'm Will Bryant, forgot to plug my social media. And even worse than that, for 2 weeks in a row, I forgot all about my homage to Kobe. So I gotta fix that right here and right now. Let me get this out of the way. Let me talk to you. Yeah. For the past 2 weeks and for this week right now, ladies and gentlemen, please do me a favor and follow me on all platforms at I'm Will Bryant. You can follow me on Instagram, on YouTube, on X, on TikTok, on Twitch, on Spotify, on Threads, all of that. It's easy. Just 3 words. I'm Will Bryant, Bryant, like Kobe. And we're back on track, back in the Speaking of being back, we're going back to basics on this episode. It's been about 2 months, 2 long months since I've given you guys a solo episode, since I've gone just me, myself, and I. And this right here will only be the second episode this entire year that I'm going solo. A stark contrast to last year where it was week in and week out, me, and only me. It's been going well. I've been enjoying my interviews. I've been enjoying having people over and discussing a bunch of different topics and different things. But I thought it was time for a go at this by myself once again. Let's see if I remember how to do this. Let's see if it's like riding a bike, which is a bad example for me because I don't really know how to ride a bike. Like, I know how, but like I'm not good at it. I once got run over by my scoutmaster on a bike hike. It was a 25-mile hike, and he got me like in mile 2. And my scoutmaster was not let's just say he was a hefty fellow. Let's just say he was a like morbidly hefty fellow. I remember I didn't know how to ride a bike, but I decided to go on this fucking... I figured, what better way to learn how to ride a bike than on a 25-mile bike freaking journey with a bunch of other 12 to 16-year-old adolescent males. That's the safest environment, right? Through like the, not a park, like through the woods and shit. Dirt roads and hills and rocks. See, that's the thing. No one told me that there would be rocks right in the middle of the road or like the dirt path or whatever. Stupid me. I thought they'd be moved to the side. I was swerving, learning how to figure out this bike shit. And I was the very last scout, and my scout master was behind me because he wanted to make sure that no one was left behind, especially me since I don't know how to ride a bike. And I was like swerving, and I remember him yelling from behind, "Stop swerving." And I was able to straighten out the bike. And the moment I straightened it out, I noticed a rock, like a boulder that's like halfway jutting out of the ground, and it hits I hit the rock with my front tire. My back tire comes up over me. I flip over the handlebars, hit my head on the ground in front of me, land in a flip. And my scoutmaster, my hefty scoutmaster, my portly, jolly scoutmaster, was right behind me. And he had no choice but to just literally run me over with his big ass mountain bike. And then he went over the handlebars and he ate it. He just belly flopped on the ground. I felt the seismic waves jostle me up into like it pretty much brought me back to consciousness. And I see him just sliding like he's trying to score at home plate, just across the floor. And it was the first time I had ever heard my scoutmaster curse. I think he said, "Oh shit," or "Oh fuck," because he ate it. Yeah, and you know when big guys like that, they try not to, like, you know, when they fall, it's a bigger deal, you know? It's like it doesn't happen that often to them, but when it does, it's a big deal. He went flying, he ate it, we both ate it. Pretty much all my fault, too. I remember there was this, like, couple. They had also, basically everyone around this area is cycling. And they had like pulled off to the side to like enjoy the view or like have a little break and some snacks, you know, very nice couple on a hike type of shit. And this freaking accident happened like within feet of them. I just remember this white couple running up to us like, "Oh my Lord, are you guys okay? You really ate it there. You ate it there, buddy. Don't get up. Don't get up. Are you dizzy? I mean, you went flying." My pants were ripped. We were both bleeding. I got up. We both got up, and I got back on that bike. That was like mile 3, I told you guys. I got back on that bike, and we kept going. I think my scoutmaster was pissed at me, but I remember the rest of the troop like stopped at, I don't know, some waterfall or whatever, and then it was like one of those things where like they didn't notice we were missing until we showed up. Figure a fucking troop of Boy Scouts, they should like know right away someone's missing and then have like a well thought out plan of like how to find us. No, they just never noticed. We show up we meet up with the rest of the troop. We're like battle ravaged and bleeding. You know, when I was a kid, I used to have a battle-ravaged Spider-Man and a battle-ravaged Wolverine. That was us. We showed up. We reconvened with our troop, and we were battle-ravaged versions of our former selves. Just ripped clothes, blood everywhere. They were like, "What the hell happened to you guys? We're 10 minutes into this hike. How did this already happen?" I went the other 22 miles bloody with ripped clothes. But I finished. I did it. I don't think I fell again that day. And it's not like I got a bike and like became an avid cyclist after that. No. In fact, I refuse to be one of these guys that guys or gals that cycle around the city to get to places. Not me. Miss me with that. For anybody that's even a little bit close to me, basically for anyone that just knows me, even if you only met me like once for an hour, you probably know that I'm not exactly the most coordinated fella. To put it nicely, I am not, the most graceful of people out there. I'm a little how you say, clumsy, you know? Just a little, just a tad. So you're telling me the guy that was able to hospitalize himself by slipping on a wet bath mat in the bathroom is supposed to take his clumsy ass into the streets of New York City on a on a bike, on a cyclist, on a bike, and risk life and death to commute and avoid the subway? Hey, you know, I get it. You guys that like to cycle, you like to bike ride. You know what I like to do? I like to live. I like being alive. How about that? Catch me outside. How about that? But not on a bicycle. I'm convinced I'm going to tear an ACL stepping off the sidewalk. You want me to get on a death machine? You know, you guys ever heard of the ghost bike? It's pretty prevalent in Queens. I don't see them too much in Brooklyn, but I have. I don't know about the Bronx. I don't really see them in Manhattan. Maybe the LES, something like that. A ghost bike is a bicycle that is probably chained up or something at a specific location and painted or spray painted white all over, including the tires. These ghost bikes are meant as homages or memorials to a cyclist that perished within that vicinity. So if you see a ghost bike chained up somewhere like on a lamppost or a tree, that means that a cyclist passed away somewhere near that area, and someone else put that ghost bike there as a a little homage, a little rest in peace. I've seen so many of those growing up that I'm like, not this guy. I ain't going out like that. I'll die 3 times in the bathroom before you catch me on a goddamn bicycle weaving in between cars. Yeah, right. I don't even have a license. I'm convinced I'll die the moment I get a license. I'm just convinced that I'll die anytime that I take a chance doing anything even remotely dangerous. And that includes driving, cycling, and apparently taking showers. Truth be told, I'm pretty sure I didn't talk about this on this podcast. Remember when I used to talk about my life every weekend, but now I'm talking about other people's lives, but that's why I thought it was time. That's why I thought it was apropos for me to do this. A bunch of shit's been going on in my life, no cycling events, but we had the Comedy Cellar had our staff party about a month ago. And it was my first staff party at the Cellar, and it did not disappoint. Let's say that. It is what I've always heard it was, and it was awesome. That's pretty much all I'll say about that. But something interesting did happen to me later on that night. In fact, many things happened, but pertinent to, I guess, this weird diatribe soliloquy that I'm going on. I actually got into a car accident that night after the staff party. And it was really dumb and avoidable. Obviously, I don't have a license out, so I didn't drive. But I did. I got into a car with someone that was just as inebriated as I was, and You know, probably neither one of us should have been in that car. We probably all should have been in Ubers at this point. But drunken decisions, drunken moments, you know? And within like 10 minutes of driving away, we got in a car accident by ourselves. We didn't hit another car. We didn't hit anybody else, thankfully. At this point, it's like 4 or 5 in the morning. It's raining. The car just kind of swerved and hit the side of it wasn't a bridge, but like we were by we were sort of somewhere where it was like an elevated road, you know. And the car just it turned to the right suddenly and just kind of went at an angle right into the wall. And I was in the car with about 5 other people. Or 4 other people. Yep. None of us were hurt. But the crash was so hard that the car was not drivable. It was totaled. The driver could not, the car just wouldn't start anymore. And we had to walk off this like elevated road, and I guess like an overpass or something. And I looked over the side of the wall that we hit. And this wall comes up to like my hip. It's not maybe my rib. You know, it's not that high, not that tall. And the car that we were in, it was like a SUV type of thing. So it was a pretty tall or elevated car. And we hit that wall, and I remember the car just kind of bouncing up and down. And I was shocked that everyone was all right. But like when we were walking off of that overpass, I looked over the edge and realized, holy crap, if that car went over, ain't nobody walking away from it. And I just started thinking about how angry a lot of people close to me would have been if they thought that was the way that I went, you know, if that's how he goes, they would be pretty pissed, and rightfully so. It was in the moment I knew it was nuts, but it wasn't until like the next day when I started sobering up. That's all of us in the car kind of had this moment the next day, because a bunch of us worked the very next day, and we just, I guess, in shock. We all felt pretty dumb, but lucky and relieved. And man, lesson learned, man. Truthfully, I was so inebriated, I was so drunk that, and high, I was smoking a whole night, basically. Actually, I was only at the party for an hour and a half, because I actually worked that night. I forgot. That's how fast things escalated. I'm drinking, by the way, Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzers. 0 added sugar, 90 calories. I just finished off a kiwi lime. Wasn't bad. And now I'm going with the strawberry guava. Never had these before. Not bad. But yeah, we felt pretty lucky the next day, but we felt dumb. And that was, I'm recording this, what is today? Today is like May 7th, I believe. This won't be out till, I don't know, May, not the 7th, probably like 6 days from now. Recording this one a little bit early. This happened about a month ago. And I guess I've had a couple of things happen recently that have just kind of gotten me thinking about this type of stuff. And by this type of stuff, I guess, unfortunately, I'm talking about mortality, just death in general. And I don't mean to be morose. I don't mean to be a vibe killer. But this is my show. And this is what I do. I don't mean kill vibes. I mean, I just remember before the guests, and it was just me. This was like my video diary. This was like my journal. This was like my weekly therapy session. Well, let's put it this way. I thought it was about time. I think that I was about due for another session. So that's why I'm here. Why has this been on my mind recently? Well, I guess, that month ago I had that stupid accident. And it wasn't really like I was that afraid in the moment or scared or traumatized by it afterwards. Perhaps it had something to do with the level of inebriation that I was at. Perhaps it had something to do with how drunk or high I was. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an idiot too. But I wasn't like terrified. I wasn't scared. It's not like I didn't shed a single tear over it. I wasn't, I didn't walk away with I was going to say I didn't walk away with like PTSD or something. However, I will say that I had a cab ride like very, like pretty much the next cab ride I was on after that accident. I was definitely clutching a little bit tighter every time we got near a wall or another car. But that tends to happen when you get into a car accident. I remember me and Mon once got into a car accident, and again, no one got hurt. Everything was fine. But like the next weekend, or maybe that weekend, I forgot, we got in a car with Dave, and Dave is a very aggressive driver. And every turn, every brake, every gas fucking pedal he was stepping on, I just saw me and Mon like just clenching and flinching, and I guess people, you can't really help but have a little PTSD when you have a car accident, but I got over it, I guess, pretty quickly. What I'm trying to say is that like it's not like this thing affected me deeply. It was just something that happened that made me feel really like something that happened that made me feel dumb for having allowed it to happen, but also very aware of how vital of a learning opportunity this could be for me. I will never say I'm glad it happened. I will absolutely be glad that everyone was all okay and the driver was fine. He already has a new car. Insurance, insurance probably won't pay anything, unfortunately. But anyways, I feel like it took a really stupid mistake to make me just a little bit less stupid. I had to get the stupid out of me, You ever feel that way? You ever do something so stupid that you're like, wow, I probably won't do that again. I just had to get that stupid out of me. Well, I think that night I got some stupid out of me. Maybe a lot of stupid out of me. Lesson learned. Lesson learned. I've the past 2 weekends, or the past 2 weeks, I've actually attended 2 different funerals, wakes, viewings, whatever you want to call it. I've said goodbye to 2 different people that have passed away in the past 2 weeks. 2 completely different people. So I guess it's even more of this is more of why I've got mortality on the mind a lot recently. Just this past weekend, I was at the funeral for a family member of mine. I say it like that because truthfully, I'm not really sure what is the proper, I don't know, title. You know, when you're in a family like mine, a Hispanic, a Latin family, I feel like a lot of Italian families are like this. And I don't know. You know, I'm sure a lot of cultures can relate to this, but if you have a big family, sometimes the family tree isn't very clear, but regardless, one thing is clear, they're family. I have cousins that I call cousins of mine that are technically like second cousins, you know, like when your cousin has a kid, is that your second cousin? I mean, to me, they're all my cousins. So my aunt, who unfortunately passed away years ago when I was young from cancer, her husband, my uncle, has a sister. So what does that make her to me? Like, technically, probably nothing, right? But she was we are all extended family. I mean, my uncle who had the sister, her kids are just as much of my cousins as like my actual, I guess, immediate cousins. Like, we don't look at it like that, really. We're all just cousins. So I'm not really sure if she's like, what is he? Is she like also my aunt? Maybe my great aunt? I don't know. All I know is that this woman was a member of the family since I could remember, because she's older than me, obviously. And she passed away at the age of 93, 1 month away from 94. Not exactly tragic, right? Like, I don't want to say that, God, I don't want to say that's a good death. No, but like, I mean, put it this way, none of us were really like sobbing about some tragedy. And what made it even easier on us to accept is about a couple of years ago, I believe it was for her 90th birthday, her daughter, one of my cousins, whatever you want to call it, organized a surprise birthday party for her on a boat. It was one of those boats like goes around I think like Ellis Island or whatever in New York for I don't know, 3 hours, 4 hours, something like that. A booze cruise. I think that was the first time my girl met my family, and I remember we got up to the line to get into the cruise, and I was like, oh, all right, cool. Like, everyone's here. I'm going to start introducing you to my family. And she looks at the line. She's like, oh, where are they? And I'm like, oh, the whole line is my family. It's everyone here is my family. And she was like, what the hell? And then I went on and started introducing her to, no lie, about 40 people, maybe 50. This was her first foray into she's from Siberia. This is her first foray into what it means to be a Hispanic family. It's an overload of introductions and names. And we were there to celebrate her 90th birthday, and it was awesome. It was great. It was really just a good, fun, wholesome time. And it was one of those birthdays where you know, it wasn't lost on everyone why the birthday was thrown. You know, like we should cherish as much as we can some of these moments. And I think everyone knew when you turn 90, your days are kind of numbered. I'm sorry, am I being a dick by saying that? I don't mean to be. But it was a good day. It was a great day. And I think a lot of us remembered that day this past weekend when we laid her to rest. It wasn't it wasn't too bad. I think we just it was more of a somber celebration as opposed to tragic goodbye. What tends to happen to me, unfortunately, I've been to quite a few number of funerals. I don't know if it's, maybe it's the gift and the curse of having a large family. It means you tend to go to a lot of these funerals. Been to a bunch. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I've lost count, more than 10, easy. I think that was another first for my girl. I think I took her to her first funeral. She's already been to 2 with me. And it was for me, what happens at these funerals is I start looking around and I'm almost like taking notes. And again, I apologize for the dark subject matter, the morose subject matter and tone that I'm taking for this episode. But, you know, dude, I'm getting old, man. I mean, look, I just talked about someone that passed away at the age of 93, and I'm here at 36 saying I'm getting old. I know. I like when I talk to older people, like in their 60s and 70s, and they find out I'm 36, and they're like, "Oh, that's a good age." You tell a 21-year-old you're 36, they're like, "God damn, you're basically dead." Someone, I think she might have been like 22, was at the bar the other day, and she asked me when I went to college, and when my sentence started with O, like 06, 05, all I had to say was "oh," and her jaw dropped so hard that I think she cracked my bar table. You would have thought I told her that I went to college during the Civil War. You would have thought that I told her that I studied way back in ancient Egypt. You would not have believed how hard her jaw dropped. I think she broke it. Because this motherfucker went to college like last year. She like yesterday. When did you go to college? I went from 05. Oh my God. Bang. Jaw drop. Bitch. Pick up your jaw. Why am I saying this? I'm getting older. But that means that our parents are getting older, right? That's the stage of my life, the life that I'm at right now, where when I think about mortality now, it's more about my folks, my parents, and less about me. See, when I was young, when I was as young as that jaw-dropping, judgy-ass motherfucker at the bar that spoke to me the other day, when I was her age, when I was 21, as I burp, for some reason, death was on my mind a lot too, but it was my death, my mortality. In fact, I was way more cavalier back then about even having a desire to live. I was way more, I was a depressed, struggling young adult. And I did not appreciate life the way that I've come to appreciate it now in my mid to late 30s. Back then I was terrified I was either terrified or just fantasizing about what would happen if I died. What would it be like at my funeral? How would they miss me, remember me, grieve me? It was almost egotistical, right? Isn't it like a huge form of like narcissism for me to like start thinking about what it's going to be like when I die? in terms of other people's reactions. It's almost like I wanted to die, but be there to see people react to it. I don't know what was wrong with me. And truth be told, I had those thoughts for a long time, and perhaps even recently. But now, and I'll tell you why I don't know if I'll ever really have those thoughts again. But before I get there, now at 36 as opposed to 21, I don't really dwell too much on my mortality as much as I'm dwelling on my parents'. And it's not really it's not out of fear. It's more, it's more because I know now more than ever that it's an inevitability. It is inevitable, Mr. Anderson. And it's way more obvious. It's in my face, you know? I've mentioned in passing before. Actually, I think I did go into a little bit of detail about my father's health 2 months ago when I talked about my performance at the Cellar and how he was not going to be able to be there. My father hasn't been home for about 4 months now. He's just not healthy enough, strong enough. He's lost a lot of weight. His cognitive abilities are dwindling. It is definitely harder to hold a conversation with him now than it ever was before, and that's saying a lot because my dad never was much for a conversation. So maybe he's just making it so he could finally get out of all these fucking conversations. Either way, point is, it's getting tough. It's getting rough. When he was home, it was a huge burden on my mother because you gotta remember, my dad's born 1942. My mom's born 1950. There ain't no spring chickens. Like I have friends that have parents that are 10, 15, 20 years younger than my parents. So, yeah, I guess I thought I had a little bit more time before I had to get to this part of my relationship with my parents. But now I'm there. I'm there now. You know, it's more taxing and truthfully kind of stressful. I mean, unfortunately, there's this thing that happens whenever I go to like visit my parents, or now just my mom or my dad. Like, my girlfriend knows that it's going to take a toll on me emotionally. It's going to like test my patience. It's going to bum me out, you know. She sees it. She sees it firsthand, you know. So yeah, it's a weird place to be. But I'm like just preparing, you know, for the inevitable. And when I go to these funerals, like the one I was just at last week, and even the one I was at 2 weeks ago, which I have a lot to say about, I'm looking around, like scouting, like taking notes of what perhaps is a good thing to do or practice or at a funeral and what's not. I mean, essentially my goal for when the inevitable does happen is to just be a goddamn rock for my mother and just make my family proud. That's really all I'm worried about. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm prepared for the emotional part of it, personally. But I'm okay with figuring that out after. And that's what goes through my head a lot nowadays. So when I was telling you guys I've got like death on the mind, mortality on the mind, a month ago I realized I could have died because of some dumbass shit. All the while I'm thinking about my father's mortality because his health is just not really improving. And then last week, I go to one of these funerals for someone in their later stages in life, and it felt like a little bit of a foreshadowing. The thing that really has the thing that happened that really got me thinking about life and death and mortality in a very different way than I had in a long time was the funeral or the wake that I attended 2 weeks ago. Not a family member. In fact, this was a funeral for someone that I used to be good friends with pretty much as a child. In fact, I started thinking about it, and I'm pretty sure it's safe to say, on my end at least, that this person was the very first best friend that I ever had in my life. We met in first grade. We met in first grade because he transferred in or came to our school in first grade. I was in St. Michael's since kindergarten. And Steven was there since first grade. And we were in the same class in first grade. I'm pretty sure we sat pretty close to each other. And we pretty quickly started gravitating towards each other. His mom was Colombian. My mom was Colombian. I think that helped too. I don't know. I think we were, when you were younger and for no fault of your own, just because that's the way life is, all of your friends are just whoever's close to you in your vicinity. It's like all of your friends are, you guys all went to the same school, like you're in the same class, or, in high school you had, specific homerooms together or some shit like that. It's, we meet more people as we grow up. But early on, you have like a small group of people that you're exposed to, and like you got to choose your friends from those 30 people. Out of those 30, half of them are girls, and we don't really like girls when we're that age, so fuck them. So now you got like 15 boys, and half of those you're probably not going to fuck with either. So now there's like fucking 5 boys left. And those, we all hung out. We all became friends, and then one of those is going to be your best friend. I'm pretty sure I don't know how much he ever really liked me. I think I used to annoy the shit out of him on a daily basis. I think he put up with me. I'd be lying if I said he didn't annoy me too sometimes. We bickered, But you're in first grade and second and third and fourth or whatever. you're friends with the person that you sit next to, that's kind of the way it is. And, we definitely had good times too. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure that me and my mom took him to his first Met game ever. We'd go to sporting events. I'm pretty sure we went to wrestling events together. We'd watch wrestling, play wrestling, both physically and video game form. We were really into Power Rangers together. His favorite Power Ranger was the Blue Ranger, Billy, because Billy had glasses and he had to get glasses that year. And so he felt better about the Blue Ranger having glasses. Billy was his favorite Power Ranger. I remember he got really mad at me when I accidentally broke his Blue Ranger. So my mom bought him a new toy and then we were friends again, So, we were on the, me and Steven were on the basketball team together back in St. Michael's, CYO basketball. And, this is when, if you pay the fee, you play in the league. It's not like I was good enough to make the team. I never played basketball before in my life, but my mom put me in the league and on the team. And it's funny, St. Michael's basketball team had like 2 people that actually went to St. Michael's. That was me and Steven. And then it had like 10 ringers from like the public schools around the area. I was probably the worst player on the team. Hey, I never lied to you guys. I told you guys way back last year that I ain't no athlete. In fact, I went through all of the ways that I suck as an athlete. I learned early on. And actually, being friends with Steven and being on the basketball team together with him was perhaps one of my earliest lessons of how I suck at sports. He was always better at basketball than me. And I felt like he was naturally better than me. And then once he realized he was pretty good, he started practicing and became like way better than me. He was always better. And I never had a problem admitting that because it was just so obvious. I was like, oh yeah, you're way better at this. Like whatever. La 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 la. I remember, it's weird the vivid memories that some of us keep for decades, but I remember this vividly. We were playing this game. I don't know. We probably played on the basketball team together for like 5-6 years, probably from like 2nd grade all the way to 8th, really. One of those years, maybe 5th, 6th grade. I don't know. I usually played like small forward. He was usually the power forward. He started. He was usually the starting power forward. I was lucky if I got in. My coach would be like, go in and set picks. I remember this game. I got decent amount of playing time because if there was one thing I was always kind of decent at, it was rebounding kind of. And at that time I was really into the Bulls and Rodman was rebounding like a motherfucker. So I wasn't terrible at rebounding. And I actually did set a pretty mean pick, if I do say so myself. My defense was okay. I just tried really hard because I knew I couldn't shoot. I couldn't dribble. So I was the one throwing myself on the floor. I was diving all over the place. I was always the one that was just on the floor diving for shit, So rebounding, that's an effort thing. I was decent at that. I remember one time, me at the 3, Steven at the 4. Steven takes like not even a shot. Like we're right under the basket. I'm to the right of the basket. He's to the left, right underneath. We've got defenders there. He takes a shot from like within 2 feet, like right underneath the basket, and he misses it, and the ball caroms to my direction. I jump up. I get the rebound. I immediately just look right back towards him and just give him the ball right back. And we're within about 1 to 2 feet of each other, right under the basket. I grabbed the rebound. I could have gone right back up with it, but I just passed it to him. He was like surprised to get the ball back so quickly. He goes right back up and shoots it again, right underneath the basket. Same shit happens. He misses it the same exact way. The ball fucking caroms off the rim. I jump up. I mean, he jumps up. We got 2 defenders, 3 other people jumping up too. We all jump up. I come down with the ball a second time. And then a second time, I turn to my left. I look right at Steven. Steven's got this face of like just... He was really hard on himself in basketball. So when he missed that second shot, he was pissed. And he had this face of like just anger on him. But he didn't realize that I was going to pass the ball right back to him. So I fucking came down with the second rebound. I throw the ball right back at him. And I remember his reaction was like, oh, shit. Okay, I got the ball again. And he goes up again. And he misses it a third time. And I come up for that rebound, but I remember I didn't get that rebound again, and we lost the possession or whatever. And I remember during the next timeout, my coach, who never encourages me to shoot ever, because as I said, I sucked, my coach pulls me in. He goes, Will, what the hell are you doing? You grabbed 2 of those, just put it right back up. Why you keep passing it to Steven? And without hesitation, I looked at Steven and I looked right at my coach and I was like, because he's better than me. Like by a lot. Why wouldn't I give it to him? I knew my place. I knew my role. I had no problem admitting that he was better at me in basketball because it was true. I knew what a role player was. My role was to try to get him the ball so he could score. I remember there was a game that we won, and we all were going to Burger King afterwards, because our moms were buying. And the whole team was happy because we won, except Steven. He's kind of like all mopey and shit. And I remember I go up to him because we're best friends, and we're the only 2 members of the St. Michael's basketball team that actually go to St. Michael's. I go up to him like, hey, why are you so sad? He goes, I only scored 2 points. And I was like, well, I didn't score anything. And he goes, yeah, but you never score anything. Not a lie. He was not lying. And I was like, yeah, that's fair. For me, if I scored 2 points, my mom was crying tears of pride and joy. My mom doesn't see me do a lot of good things. My record high of points scored in a single game, I still remember 6. I made 3 shots. Everyone was shocked. And I remember we won the game by 6 points. So in my head, I convinced myself that I won the game. Never mind the fact that our best players had like 20 points each. No. It was my 6 that won it. I'm telling you, I wasn't good. A lot of effort, though. Steven was mad that he only scored 2. And that's when I knew even more. I was like, man, that's why I suck at this. Like, I'm skipping in with glee on my way to Burger King after like a 0-point game because I don't give a fuck. We won, and I get to eat a burger now. But he wasn't satisfied. It wasn't good enough. Because he can drop 10, 12, He was like David Lee before David Lee. Double-double. 12 points, 10 rebounds. Easy. He was good. He had this thing where he shot with both hands. We used to joke, be like, flick your wrists, plural. Everyone else has to flick one wrist for a shot. He had to flick his wrists, but he made it work. He was good. I didn't know he was sick. See, because like I said, we were friends back then. We didn't really remain friends. Remember what I said? I feel like the moment we both started meeting more people, we realized, oh, I think I like these people more. I think I experienced that at St. Francis Prep. I think he experienced that at Archbishop Malloy. I think we realized the moment we met more people, it was like, oh, These people don't annoy me as much as Will annoyed me or Steven annoyed me, whatever. There was other shit that happened in our friendship too that led to our falling out. We had a legitimate falling out. Those details I don't really want to get into. It's water under the bridge, and they seem to matter less than ever now. Because I didn't know he was sick. Apparently, it was for a couple of years. And it advanced quickly, and because we weren't really friends to the end there, I'm skirting around how much, details I want to divulge. But let's just say what everyone already knows. Fuck cancer. Right? So Steven and I, same age. It's the first time that I've had to say goodbye to someone that I had a friendship with that's the same age as me. And I found out on a Monday night while I was at work, actually. And I remember just immediately feeling this change in me. I didn't know it was going to affect me the way it did. And what I want to be clear about is I in no way want to try to, I don't know, dramatize what this did to me, because truthfully, this, Steven's passing was way more impactful to so many other people. And I don't want to try to take away from that by making it about me, because it's absolutely not. This is just my podcast where I get to talk about how I feel about things. So I never wanted to feel like, I never wanted to come off as if I was like using this to be woe is me. No. Mm-mm. That Monday night when I found out, when I learned, I felt a lot of emotions. It was more, not so much sadness, but just fucking confusion, dude. Like, what? And I had this selfish self-reflection going on. Because by the way, he passed away the day before his 37th birthday. The day before. I mean, when I found out that he passed away, his birthday was going to be in like 4 hours or 3 hours, something like that, at midnight. It's weird. Like, we haven't been friends for like a decade, but I never forgot his birthday is April 23rd. You know why? Because for some reason, I always knew he had the same birthday as William Shakespeare. Why the fuck does that matter? I don't know. But I remember his number, by the way, his family's landline from when they were growing up back in Flushing, Queens. It's the only number besides my mom's number that I still, to this day, can recite from memory. I know my old home landline, I know my mom's cell phone number, and I know Steven's landline from back in 1998. I don't know why. That's it. That's all I got for you. It's funny the things we remember. I felt selfish as I had this thorough moment of self-reflection, and all I could think about as I reached out to one of my best friends in the world, Cole, who was also friends with Steven, all I could say is life is not fair. Life is cruel sometimes. And I started thinking back to myself as a 21-year-old kid, obsessing about my own death in some unhealthy, sick ways, perhaps even fantasizing about it at times. And then contrasting that to the thoughts that I was having now as a 36-year-old, finding out that someone my age, someone I used to call my best friend years ago, has actually passed away. And all I could think was, I'm not ready. Not yet. And I started wondering, was he? Is anybody? You know, there's this movie called In Bruges. It's Colin Farrell. Ralph Fiennes is in it. I forget the name of the third person. Brendan Gleeson is in it too. He's just great. Came out in 2008, and I'm a big fan of this movie because I feel like this movie helped me transition from the way I used to think about death to the way I currently do. And instead of being so quick to think about it for myself with acceptance, I'm now thinking about it with, all the fear in the world. See, In Bruges is a movie where Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson play hitmen that are in hiding because of a hit gone wrong. And they're hiding in Bruges. It's a European city. And Colin Farrell is suicidal. And at one point in the film, he actually attempts suicide, but Brendan Gleeson is able to stop him the moment he puts a gun to his own head. Through a bunch of crazy stuff, towards the end of the movie, Colin Farrell is shot. Now, sure, maybe these are spoilers, but I don't really care. It came out in 2008, and you probably never even heard of the movie. You should still see it, but I don't really care if you do. Towards the end of the movie, Colin Farrell is shot multiple times, and he starts having a monologue in his own head. Starts talking about a bunch of shit. And the final line of the movie, after about when an hour previous he was trying to kill himself, the final line is, I really, really hoped I wouldn't die. I really, really hoped I wouldn't die. I guess we don't know if he does actually die or if he lives. But that wasn't really the point of the movie. The point of the movie was that Colin Farrell went from suicidal to wanting to live beyond a shadow of a doubt. I had this moment when I went to pay my respects to Steven. Because when the moment I heard he was dead, even though we hadn't been friends for a while, I made the decision that I was going to go. It's not like we had any animosity. In fact, we had a moment where we buried the hatchet, I should say. We just never continued a friendship. We just never, cultivated it. We just never, we never hung out again. We were just cool with not being cool with each other, but also not hating each other. And that was good enough for me. And good enough for him. And I wanted to pay my respects. Again, maybe it was selfish. I don't know. When I said my final goodbyes, it was open casket, and I knelt at his casket. I didn't know I was going to cry, but I did cry. I didn't pray. I thought that would be a little disingenuous of me to pray at his casket when even I don't know what my relationship with a higher power is right now. So I just spoke to him. And I said sorry, but not, it wasn't like sorry that I fucked up, sorry we fucked up. I was just sorry, man. Like that this didn't turn out different. And I had this moment where I was just staring at him. And I knew it was just this moment, this in Bruges moment for me. I really, really hoped I wouldn't die. I really, really hoped I wouldn't die. Because like I said, I'm not ready. I don't feel like I've accomplished anything. I don't feel like, no. So yeah, I walked away with some tears in my eyes. Cole was there. And he saw me. I'm pretty sure he saw me. Well, I said hi to him before. Then I walked up to the casket. But then I'm pretty sure he saw me on the one walking away from the casket. And I sat towards the back of the funeral. Not because I wanted to be alone or whatever. I needed to charge my phone because if you guys remember, my legit phone died like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I guess now. I'm on this backup iPhone 8, which has the battery life of 12 minutes. So I'm constantly charging this shit. So it had died. So I went to the back corner of the funeral and sat in the last chair just so I could charge my phone. I know, pretty fucking douchey of me, I guess. I don't know. But I think maybe people were like, oh, he's brooding in the corner. Cole, I saw Cole get up and say goodbye to or speak to a lot of people. I didn't know he was saying goodbye, but then I just saw him walk out and leave me and ditch me at a funeral. We were supposed to leave together. This motherfucker ditched me. I didn't realize he was texting me because I left my dead phone charging. He was trying to figure out where you at, what's going on. Did you leave? Because the Knicks were playing that night, and we were going to go catch the end of the game. Now, that might seem insensitive, but if there's anyone that would appreciate friends watching a Knicks game together after saying their final goodbyes to him, it would be Steven. In fact, the night that he passed, the Knicks had one of their most amazing victories of all time. And I think his friend said he's pretty sure Steven had something to do with that one. I didn't realize Cole left. And he goes to this bar in Astoria to meet up with our group of friends. I stay behind for like another hour and a half. Finally, pick up my phone, and I see that he was texting me. I was like, oh, shit. So I have to leave in an Uber by myself. And before I continue this part of the story, by the way, what I'm wearing at this funeral, probably not the best funeral attire either. Because, see, I've put on a couple of LBs over here. Not sure if you guys could tell. I don't really fit into some of my smaller... See, I used to wear some really tight-ass shit. And joke's on me, because when you wear really tight-ass shit and you get even just a little bit fatter than you used to be, well, there goes like 50% of your wardrobe, and that's where I'm at right now. So the morning of the wake, I'm putting on this white button down, and that shit ain't buttoning the way it used to, you know? Like, suddenly you can see my skin through every buttonhole, and I'm like, no, this is not going to work, Will. I was going to do a white button down with a black tie, no problem, you know. And a black blazer with black pants, no problem, in and out. And then I realized, oh, I'm too fat to fit into my shirt now. And also, I don't own a black blazer. The only I have a black tuxedo top from Keith's wedding that I never returned. Men's Warehouse, get at me. Sorry, Keith. I'm not going to fucking go to a funeral dressed up like a fucking groomsman. Actually, hindsight, I probably should have gone to the funeral dressed up like a groomsman. Because what I did was not anything better than that. See, I realized that I have 2 blazers in my closet. Technically 3, but one is a women's blazer and it's like short sleeve that I love, but I don't know. I thought maybe wear a men's top to this funeral. And so I have a purple blazer and like a maroon blazer, and they're very similar colors. And the only reason why I didn't pick the maroon blazers because I was running late, and that one had all the tags on it still because I've never worn it. So I went with purple. I chose to wear a purple blazer to a wake. And because I couldn't wear a white button down, I figured the next best thing would be to wear a white turtleneck. So I wore a white turtleneck sweater with a purple blazer to a wake. And I don't think I really thought that one through. See, because I went to work first and then I went to the wake afterwards. And my coworkers were like, whoa, Will, you look pretty cool. Where are you going? Some party? Some club? Nope. Not exactly. I'm going to a wake. And they were all really confused as to why I would go to a wake dressed like that. In fact, one of my coworkers was like, really? You dress like a fashionable Willy Wonka to go to a funeral? That, I'm not gonna lie, that one made me laugh. I'm not mad at it. But yeah, kind of, essentially. So I'm dressed like Willy Wonka at my friend's wake, watching Cole ditch me. Unbeknownst to me, he's texting me all the while. All good. I decide to just meet him at the bar, meet the rest of my friends at the bar. So I go outside, I say my final goodbyes to my to an old friend, and I call an Uber. And once I'm in the Uber, I decide to text my girl, just give her a little update, just be like, hey, just left the wake, on my way to meet the guys, to meet our friends. What I didn't know was that this entire time that I'm brooding in a corner of a funeral home, Cole is at the bar telling Monica that he couldn't find me at the wake, that I looked pretty distraught, and that I must have left because I couldn't handle it. He thought I ditched him at the wake. Meanwhile, I was charging my goddamn phone in the corner, watching him say goodbye to everybody else, ignoring me, and then walking the fuck out. Monica is hearing this and is like, oh, wow. I guess Will was really taken back by everything. I guess it really affected him or hit him hard. So Monica texts my girl and tells her, Cole said Will left the wake because he couldn't take it anymore. He was so emotional that he bounced. I couldn't find him. And he's ignoring all of our texts. So my girl is seeing all these texts saying that I was such an emotional wreck that I abandoned Cole at a wake and that I am just ignoring my phone. And then moments later, or an hour later, I text her saying, hey, just left the wake on my way to see my friends. So now suddenly, my girl's like, my boyfriend's a fucking liar. Somehow, my dumbass friends painted a story that made my girlfriend think that I made up a story about a wake and a dead friend so that I could go on a date with some bitch and cheat on her. Only Cole and Monica can get me in trouble with my girlfriend when all I'm doing is going to a goddamn wake. I'm trying to grieve and y'all are trying to break us up. The fuck? And I showed my girlfriend a picture of the outfit I was wearing. I told her that my coworker called me Willy Wonka. And suddenly now she's like, well, this makes sense because no asshole would dress like that to go to a goddamn wake. Who does this guy think I am? Does he think I'm an idiot? You're obviously dressed to go on some fuckboy date, not to go say goodbye to a friend. You think I'm stupid? You think I was born yesterday? Meanwhile, that's exactly what I was doing. I dressed up like Willy Wonka to go to a wake, and it backfired. Go figure. Because I have idiot friends like Cole and Monica, who I love to death, but fuck up a story so bad that it paints me as a bad guy when all I'm doing is paying my respects. I got to the bar and Monica immediately was like, holy shit. I thought you were like gone. She took a picture of me and sent it to my girlfriend as like proof that Will's here. He's actually not lying. It was like a hostage photo. Like, here, proof of life. He exists here. He's not with some bitch. He's with us. Watching the Knicks lose. Because we lost that night. But we won the series. All I wanted to do was pay my respects to my friend. And what happened? My other friends tried to ruin my life. With friends like these, man. My girl was so confused. Like, why? If you're like in her head, she's like, if my boyfriend's gonna lie to me to cheat on me, why the hell would he use the group of friends that I'm cool with too? Because I'm easily going to find out the truth when I text him and say, "Where's Will?" Like, not only did my girl think that I was a cheating man whore for like an hour, she thought I was a stupid cheating man whore. Not only did she think I was being a fuckboy, she thought I was being the most idiotic fuckboy around. My friends saw like I was fine. I was not, crestfallen. I mean, it was sad, but like I said, I wasn't going to dramatize this self or this moment for me. I think I dealt with it in a pretty healthy way. What did I do? I went, I paid my respects, I said goodbye, I shed a couple of tears. Then I spent some time with my friends, watched the Knicks, drank some beers, and me and Cole took a shot or two in honor of Steven. I think that's kind of what you're supposed to do, Speaking of the Knicks, real quick, I'm wearing this shirt. We won that series, and we just won game 1 against the Pacers last night. As of this recording, that's as far as we've gone. Hopefully we are in good shape when this drops on Monday night. Monday morning. But I thought it was important for me to leave the funeral home of a childhood friend and spend some time with my current friends. I thought it would be good for the soul, and it was. Even though they tried to set me up. Fucking idiots. And we got drunk. Me and Cole got drunk. I think that's how two 36-year-olds appropriately deal with the passing of another 36-year-old. So, I've got this Cascanes Añejo from James, yet another one of my great friends, one of my best friends. And I'm pouring out a shot right here. So one final time. Cheers, Steven. I love you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for letting me vent. Thank you for being my therapy. And yeah. Here's to living. Peace, guys.